Hello, and welcome to the Wine Enthusiast Podcast, your serving of wine trends and passionate people beyond the bottle. I'm Virginie Boone, the Napa Sonoma editor here at Wine Enthusiast, and in this episode, I'll talk with Justin Seidenfeld, the director of winemaking for Rodney Strong Vineyards in Sonoma County, and a Wine Enthusiast 40 under 40 tastemaker. Did you know that for his rosé of Pinot Noir, he uses estate-grown grapes, all from the Russian River Valley? We'll hear more about that, dive into what's going on with rosé right now, and talk about some of the other producers that we like. Of course, we'll do some tastings of some recently rated and excellent examples of rosé as well. I'm here with Justin Seidenfeld, the director of winemaking at Rodney Strong Vineyards, and we're here to talk about rosé partly because Justin is the man behind kind of this supersonic success story with rosé, which is the Rodney Strong Rosé of Pinot Noir from Russian River Valley. Now, Justin, before I get to my question, I just sort of want to set the scene that in 2016, you launched the first vintage of the rosé at 2,000 cases. 2017, it went to 17,000 cases. And with the current vintage, the 2018, you're now at 30,000 cases, still at a $25 price point and an incredible quality. So what is the trick from a winemaking perspective on how do you grow such a category, such a great wine at that price point and keep the quality up?
Our response is that we're using great grapes. I make this as an intentional rosé, so I went back to the same exact vineyards I started with. And instead of using, a couple rows to hit the initial case count in 2016, I'm just using more of the same exact sites.
Right, and my understanding is you keep it stainless steel fermented to sort of capture the acidity, which the vintages that I've tasted, succeeds very well. What did you kind of think about that when you were first designing this wine?
Yeah, so the stainless steel is really there to keep everything fresh and bright. The acidity comes from the time I pick it. So I pick these grapes between 20 and 21 bricks, which is sort of right in the middle of where you would pick sparkling and where you would, a little bit later where you would pick grapes for, a standard still wine. And so we get really bright acidities. And at that point in time, we also have a whole lot of something called an ester, which is where the really beautiful fruits and floral components come from. And so by keeping it all in stainless steel and fermenting it at 45 degrees Fahrenheit, we can keep all of those very volatile qualities intact so they don't blow off at high temperatures.
So when did you first discover rosé as something to drink, and then as you came up in your winemaking career, something to make?
So I've drank rosé forever. The very first winery I worked for was Iron Horse Vineyards in Sebastopol, and I was able to make rosé going all the way back to 2005, where I made a Pinot rosé for them as well as a rosé out of Sangiovese. And so I did a lot of research during that time where I was learning about Domaine Haut, which is my favorite, and several other producers in Provence, and that's really where I modeled my philosophy from. And at the end of the day, when I started designing a wine, if you want to call it that, I designed a wine I want to drink myself.
Right. And I mean, you must even, with your experience, be sort of surprised at the amount of popularity that rosé has had over the last couple of years. I mean, it just seems to not be stopping anytime soon. And I do think, at least in California, from what I see and taste, it seems because there are more producers making these intentional rosés.
Absolutely. The popularity has blown my mind. When I sit back and think about it, it doesn't overly surprise me because White Zin grew in popularity at the same pace. It just was made differently, and then it died out because people started taking wine a little bit more seriously, I think. I think it's just a wine that was waiting to come back. I think rosé's been in people's minds for as long as I can remember, and it's just now people are finding the right ways to make it from the right varietals in the right places, and so it's reemerging for all those great reasons. And so my hope would be that we don't forget that as winemakers and wine companies, and we continue to make it in the quality that we have been over the last, say, 5 years, which is, I think, why people have liked it so much.
Now, at the beginning of the year, I remember seeing some Nielsen numbers on wine consumption, and it looked like rosé was still at double-digit growth kind of across all price points. And that, to me, defied a little bit of what some other trends we were seeing across wine consumption. Do you think it's partly that rosés tend to intersect with a $12 to $20 sweet spot, and that price is just attractive to people?
I would say yes to that question, but I think it's also still growing because I think a lot of consumers are slow to adapt. Even though rosé all day has been in our face all day long, but that's our world, I still think in large portions of the country where I think a lot of this growth is taking place, it's finally starting to take hold.
Would you say that in some of these markets, people weren't really drinking rosé at all, or they suddenly kind of opened to California rosé where they were drinking maybe versions from Europe?
I would say the previous statement where they really weren't drinking rosé at all, and now that they are opening up to it, they're actually more comfortable drinking a domestic rosé than something from France. They're not as, not everybody, so this is a generalization, so hopefully I don't offend anybody, but I just think that most things kind of start on the coasts and then work their way to the middle of the United States. And so I think the comfort level with walking into a store and just finding some random Provence rosé to try isn't as high as buying a rosé from a brand that they recognize.
Right. Well, that makes sense. But I would also add, at least from my experience, that in California, so many producers took a little while to make a sizable amount of rosé. And so maybe they were making something because it was fun and they had some great grapes that were devoted to it. And they really only had it in their tasting room or maybe for wine club members. And so I'm thinking that, until recently, a lot of the rosés that I've always enjoyed were really hard for other people to find. Would you say that's what you're finding as well?
Absolutely. I would say that, I mean, even, to be quite frank, we started with the 2016 as our first national release. But the first rosé I made for the winery was a couple years prior at 100 cases or 150 cases, and we sold it all out in 5 weekends. It's almost the start of our rejuvenation and opening us up as a brand to a whole new customer set.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit of a calling card too, an invitation to sort of try maybe a winery's wine at a decent price point before you kind of get into their higher end bottlings or things that need a little bit more age on them. So given that you almost got fired over rosé, and you make a lot of very serious wines at Rodney Strong as well, I mean, how do you feel as a serious winemaker making rosé? And, especially given that it's sort of the first wine out of every vintage for you.
Yeah, I love it. I consider our rosé to be a serious rosé, but yet fun. So we're using the best quality Pinot we can get, and I make it in a similar fashion to my favorite winery for rosé, which is Domainot. And their rosés are $80, $70, $80 a bottle. So we actually attacked a little bit of the higher price point segment. I think ours retails for $25. Like everything we've seen in the world of wine lately, people are looking for better quality wines. People that started with rosé at that, maybe 8 to 12 or 10 to $15 price point are now looking for maybe $20 to $25 rosé, and we're primed and ready for that.
So how much do you think people pay attention to variety when they buy and enjoy rosé?
I think for us it matters. We actually have, and I think the AVA matters too. We've in a way surveyed the people that come to our tasting room, as well as talk to people in the marketplace, especially the gatekeepers or the buyers at the different stores. But the fact that it's Pinot Noir and it's Russian River Valley are really large selling points for us in particular. I think place matters. It used to be our slogan, and I think as people are moving up the spectrum to higher price point rosé, they're looking for things that differentiate the wine from others. So place and varietal are very important.
Yeah, certainly in Russian River, the predominant grape for rosé is going to be Pinot Noir, but we do have here and there some people playing with Syrah and Grenache and even Zinfandel and some Cabernet, and there's some different things that you see. But When you're kind of tasting locally or keeping an eye on what other wineries are doing, which rosés stand out to you? What have you liked?
I would say there's a couple. Inman family makes one that I really like. It's a little smaller production. It's a Pinot Noir rosé, made in a similar fashion to what I do. I like Porter Creek's rosé quite a bit. Ruid and Unti both make good rosés. So all of those, they're a little smaller, but they're all random varietals. I like to see the variation of what rosé can be. So I kind of seek out not just Pinot Noir rosés, but rosés made from Rhone varietals, as well as I have I think one of those wineries makes a wine out of Carignan, a rosé out of Carignan. So they're all really done exceptionally well.
Well, an Inman family who has made a rosé from Pinot Noir for a long time, one of the pioneers for sure. It's interesting that now they've released a few single vineyard designate rosés, and even some block designates, I think, in some cases. What do you make of that? Is that kind of the next step for rosé?
I think it probably is, although my first time having those was in a tasting at the Austin Food and Wine Festival. I attended a seminar that Kathleen Inman gave, where she showed 3 single vineyard rosés as well as her blend, her Russian River rosé, and you could distinctly see the difference in color, but also taste the difference for the single vineyard. However, for my personal opinion, I felt that the blend of the 3 vineyards, which was her standard, kind of flushed it all out and was my favorite of the 4 different rosés we tried. Rosé is a fun wine. It's meant to be enjoyed and drank quickly. So I don't think if you went to a restaurant you would find a lot. You'd have the opportunity to find a lot of single vineyard rosés on a list. I just don't think it's necessary per se.
Right, right. And, that's expensive grapes, expensive land, and rosés, despite the $80 price point that you mentioned, like most rosés are just not going to be able to get that high in price. So we've got like real world economics in the mix as well. Speaking of that, just on the other end of the spectrum, what do you think about rosé in cans?
I think cans are cool. I think that ultimately rosé in cans could be quite popular. My issue with cans right now is I feel the wines are being made to a specific price point. What we've found is, a 375 can, which seems to be the most popular volume, has like a max price point of about $6 to $7. And
Right, and
in a lot of
that's
ways
half a
that,
bottle.
right,
Yeah,
that limits what you can do. So I think as cans mature, I hope that canned wine isn't a fad, and it actually grows nicely and becomes a viable way to drink wine, because it just opens wine up to more people and more environments, which is why I like it. You could take it to the beach, you could take it to a picnic more easily than you can a glass bottle. A lot of places prohibit glass, in that environment. So in my opinion, the more we can make wine accessible to our consumer, the better. And I think over time you'll see cans going up into $10, $12 price point for a 375 can, as people get more comfortable with drinking wine out of that that package style. And you'll see not just really good quality rosés, but you'll see a lot more options in that world. But I think we're still a few years away from that happening, based off of what I've seen in the stores, and you're seeing more and more well-established producers putting out wine in cans, like Bonterra. They just released their first wine in cans, and so I think it's just a matter of time before, pretty much everybody does.
right. Well, and it will increase the quality if there's more competition, I would imagine.
Correct. I mean, there's several rosé in cans that you find when you read the package. It's, mostly white wine that they put in a little bit of red wine to make it rosé, and then they carbonate it to, make it have the illusion of freshness. So that's, to me, while yes, it's technically rosé because it looks that way, that's a manufactured wine that they're trying to achieve a goal based off of price point, and they're not putting in good quality wine. And so until we really get to that point, which I still think is just a matter of time, a couple of years, I will be buying my rosé in a bottle, hopefully with a screw cap.
Right. That keeps it pretty simple as well. What's the hottest new trend in wine cellars? VinoView by Wine Enthusiast. VinoView will change how you cool and display your favorite wines. The patented matrix shelf design displays wine labels forward to showcase your favorite bottles. It comes standard with 12 built-in rolling shelves, each comfortably holding 12 750 milliliter bottles of all shapes and sizes. With 155 bottle capacity, VinoView is the only wine cellar of this type that can hold the number of bottles it advertises, guaranteed. And it's not only sleek in design, it also has a state-of-the-art compressor cooling performance. Wine Enthusiast VinoView is available exclusively from the Wine Enthusiast catalog. Visit wineenthusiast.com and find out why customers are calling VinoView awesome, beautiful, and a must-have product. To experience VinoView, visit wineenthusiast.com or call one of our experienced wine storage experts at 800-356-8466. All right, my last question for you then is what is your favorite way to enjoy rosé?
As long as my wife's there, I'm happy. So if I can drink rosé with her, whether it be at dinner or be, we live in Windsor, right next to the winery, and so we go to the Thursday night live concert. So, drinking rosé outside with friends, it's refreshing in the hot sun, and it's great. So to me, that's the best way to drink rosé, and really all wine. My goal in life as a winemaker is just really to make people happy. If you're happy drinking rosé, then you're good in my book. Drinking rosé keeps rosé being made, and so I say rosé all day.
All right, well, I do too. So thank you so much for joining us on this conversation. And if people haven't discovered your rosé yet, I'm sure they will. The 2018 Rosé of Pinot Noir Estate, Russian River Valley, is out now, and I hope not sold out, but I don't...
Not sold out yet, but we're actually selling it even faster than we anticipated, which is a positive, but that's the goal with rosé. Every rosé producer just wants to sell it out. So the faster we sell it out, the better.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Justin.
Thanks, Virginie. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Wine Enthusiast Podcast. We talked about a lot of different styles of rosé and ways to make rosé, all waiting to be enjoyed by you. To recap 3 recently reviewed gems across a range of rosé stylistic expressions that are worth picking up now, try at 94 points the Inman Family 2018 Endless Crush OGV Estate Rosé of Pinot Noir from Russian River Valley. It costs $38. There's also the Rodney Strong 2018 Rosé of Pinot Noir, also from Russian River Valley at 92 points. That retails for $25. And lastly, at 90 points, a Quivira 2018 Wine Creek Ranch Rosé from Dry Creek Valley, made from Rhone varieties, at $22. Beyond those 3, be sure to check out additional rosé ratings and reviews, including other producers we mentioned, all available for free at winemag.com. Subscribe to the Wine Enthusiast Podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you find podcasts. If you liked today's episode, we'd love to read your review and comment. And why not tell your wine-loving friends to check us out too? For more wine reviews, recipes, guides, and stories, visit Wine Enthusiast online at winemag.com. The Wine Enthusiast Podcast is produced by Marina Fatage and Jenny Grossa. Until next episode, cheers.